Yeah. Songs about being used and not letting people use you. Yo, hey, you know they just using you, right? But do what you like if you just the type that takes what you get, not deserve. But why ruin your life just to have a boo in the night, some company in the day? Say move on, I'm too grown. Don't come to me if you play. There's Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation for that. Me in the friend zone, no patience for that. Cause if we're friends, then we're friends. Nothing more and nothing less. My poker face sucks. Try your luck if I'm bluffing test. I'm done being walked on. Don't take another step. I can smell foul play. It's not once been my upper lip. I gotta love Jones, but I'll be alone. Cause truth is we ain't Lorenz Tate and Nia Long. I ain't got a problem with being wrong. I just got a problem with being wrong. When someone wants a fool they can string along. You looking for a puppet? Watch Sesame Street. Cause I'm 50% civil, but the rest of me street. My girl knows I'm a jet if she cheats. It's inexcusable. No matter how you cook it up, the recipe stinks. As we age, we learn it's best to rethink the fairy tales. Relationships can be a scary hell that tests your beliefs. I recall all the threats and deceit. And not only did I charge it to the game, I kept the receipt. Plenty lessons to teach, till I'm resting in peace with no difference in the elevation of my neck and my feet. It's worth stretching my reach. Don't hurt the messenger, G. When future goals ain't mutual, quit connecting in heat. It could be all they want from you for a month or two. Nothing new, fun for who? Wash wrists, but don't let the segment repeat. I ceased all activity and all stats did increase. I've sown better choices, now I reap all that's meant for me. Yo, I've sown better choices. Now I'm reaping all that's meant for me. And that's it.
All right, well, good afternoon. I'm Joey Collins. I'm here with...
Fyne Pr1nt Williams.
That's right. We're here in upstate New York, Watertown. The lovely Watertown. Actually, we got one of the best views, I'd say.
Yeah. Trust me, I love it. This is a good, it's a good area. You look at it. The landscape and everything is good. The vibe is right.
Yeah, it's small town, kind of quaint,
Yeah. It took me a minute to get used to it, being from Houston, Texas, but it grew on me. I like it. Right. I like the pace of it.
Yeah. How do you like the cold? What do you think? Too bad?
It's one of them things that you never adjust to. The way I adjusted to the cold, I just stay out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, stay inside all winter.
I hibernate.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, let's kick this thing off.
Okay.
We got a few questions for you. You're a local Watertown artist, musician. Can you tell me a little bit about your music?
I'd say my music, obviously, or not obviously, but I do hip-hop music, surprise, surprise. And the thing that I would say makes my music not of the norm is my content. It's more so message driven, and it's clean, no profanity, no vulgar lyrics. It's just a child can listen to it, the oldest person in the world can listen to it, everybody in between can all listen to it together.
Your kid and your grandma.
Everybody
listens to it.
Be a family function.
Perfect. So. I did notice that. So I was talking to you about it today, and I was listening just earlier when we met up. I was listening to some of your music the last couple of days, and that was this thing that stood out the most was your lyricism, and you had some pretty sweet. First, I really like your flow. You've got some really neat, even gravelly stuff you do on spots that I was really digging. But you had this rhyme. It was, I ain't got many chips, but I'm free though, a Frito. And I was like, damn, dude, I was driving. I was like, all right.
And that's what makes it fun to even, get up into the whole craft and lyricism and stuff. And then you place these things in there because it was kind of different for me growing up in the hip hop of back then, and now it's not really the same. And we found joy back then in just having to listen to a song multiple times so we can catch everything. And some people wouldn't catch that, they'd hear it on the third or fourth listen and be like, oh, I didn't even know he said that. Man. So it's just hiding little jewels in there.
Man, I love that. Yeah, man, I really like that. That actually kind of reminds me of things in some of my favorite bands that are so far away from hip hop, I'm a big Tool and kind of heavier what do you call it, prog rock kind of stuff, but
Right.
they do similar kind of like stuff in those songs, and I was like, man, that's so cool, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and I can appreciate that, because somebody took the time and they didn't just throw anything together. They thought about it.
That's right, man.
They constructed it perfectly.
Spend some time to really think about it and write it down on paper, or, well, actually, you said you don't even write things down, man. How?
It was, and I always give the credit to the people along the journey that guided me in my whole process. There's a buddy of mine. He goes by the name. I don't even know if he still raps anymore, but I met him like back in the day, and he went by the name Friction, or Frick for short.
Oh, cool.
And we were at a laundromat over there, the Colonial laundromat or whatever, and we were sitting outside, and he was just rapping to me, just verse after verse, and I was like, how do you have so many songs? And he was just nonstop. And he said, I don't write anymore, I just keep it all up here. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, I write it still, just without paper. And and he was like, the whole process of memorization. And he told me about that, and he said, just do it. Start a line, a couple words, then a line at a time. And I listened to him, and I started doing it. At first, I used to come up with a couple lines, and then I'd have to run to paper and write it down before I forget it. I was like, okay, 4 lines, I'm good. Then I'll come up with 4 more, and then hurry up and write that down.
Right.
Then over time, it's just, next thing you know, full-length verses and songs, 3 songs, 4 songs, just stuck right there.
Holding them up there like an elephant. The steel trap of a brain.
And that people, I think a lot of us humans, we underestimate our abilities. Because,
Right.
I mean, after I learned that I could do that, I was like, how did I go so many years with using paper,
Yeah,
Man.
carrying around a notebook or something, or
It's the freedom of it, flexible,
That's cool, man.
You know who else does that? It's Jay-Z.
No way, he doesn't write anything down.
He doesn't write it down either. He said it, and I feel the same way. He says it frees you up. You're not restricted anymore. When he was out and on the subway or doing whatever, when he couldn't have notebook or anything, he still was able to still keep making music, and that's the joy of it. That
right
no
on.
matter the case, you can always make music.
Yeah, you don't need any supplies. That's
Exactly.
awesome, man. Well, so you talked about that. That's part of your process. Is you said it's a mental thing now. So why not? Let's talk about like kind of how do you start writing? What is your creative process when you have the inspiration, write a song?
I'd say that I've been making music for so long that it's almost like the inspiration is a bit different. Back then it would be, this idea, whatever. But nowadays it's more so strategic. Let's go back to the Fyne Fridays. The reason I started doing those, it was a video that I do every Friday. A new verse, and I'd come up with it that week, and then I'd put it out that Friday. And I kept that process going, and the whole point was to have each song be a message behind it, a different subject, about, and it's all life-based.
Right.
I kind of treat it like a self-help song listening process. So whoever listens to the music, they're going to get something, maybe a new approach to a situation they've been having trouble in life.
Right. So
that's where the writing process came from. Like, what is something that I haven't touched on yet? So I pop up with some, how about respect or self-respect?
Right,
and then
right.
I'd lock in on that topic, and then think of everything that has to do with self-respect, my experience with situations, and that would be that, so it's structured. So basically that's my process.
Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, right on. And you said you switch between creating beats first versus creating lyrics first, right?
Right. Since back in the days, I've learned how to make my own beats, and from using my nephew's Fisher-Price keyboard, just learning
Nice.
how to mimic songs I heard on the radio to actually making my own and whatnot, and basically, obviously, like I said, I like to write to music because I like the vibe.
Right.
But sometimes if I'm in a situation where I don't have any music, I'll go ahead and write the verse. And actually, one of my favorite verses I ever came up with, was written to no music, you know.
Right, okay, right
so
on, yeah.
so the idea, and I had the structure right, and then after that, then it was like, okay, now let me listen to instrumentals and whichever one's gonna fit this verse the best.
Yeah,
you know.
perfect.
So, but I would definitely prefer to have the music there
Right.
to start.
Set the kind of vibe, the mood,
Oh, yeah.
and really get you in the headspace of what you're talking about.
Exactly,
Right.
you know, because I mean, in a sense, sometimes I feel like the songs already exist, and basically we're the person that it's, I
Coming
guess,
out through.
introducing itself through, you know, and we're just like kind of channeling it in a sense. So when I listen to a beat, I can listen to the same beat for hours and just go into this world inside my head, and I feel like it's speaking to me, you know,
Right.
and then I'll try to convey that message as best as I can.
Yeah,
you know?
perfect, man. I totally get that. I understand. It's cool, man. I like
Right.
that. Cool. Yeah. So, what kind of things inspired you? What inspired you to start making music? Was it?
You know, it was my mother has a total of 5 kids. I got 4 older sisters. I'm the baby boy, you know, and the only boy, you know. So, and my oldest sister, she was the tomboy of the family, so she took on the big brother role for me, you
Right.
know, and she was from sports to anything, playing rough outside, you know, she was one of the guys, and she started rapping first, and I was always tagging along.
Oh,
And
cool.
she told me, she was like, okay, now we're rapping. First she started off writing songs, singing songs, and then one day she was like, all right, we're rapping now. And I was like,
All
okay,
right.
whatever. It was like 10 years old.
Cool,
Just
yeah.
you know, and that's how I started, you know, and we just were kind of like a duo, you know, and we did a bunch of songs together. And then over time, I kind of went in my own direction, you know. It's just, Tupac is my favorite rapper, you know,
Right on.
and it's just because of it was this whole positive, in the midst of everything else he had going on. You had the aggression, you had the love and whatever, but I think that's just human. Some people said it was conflicting. He didn't know what he wanted to be. I was like, we're
Right.
human. Sometimes we're angry, sometimes we're happy, you know. And he showed it a lot. One song's changed the world. One song is, you know, hurt all my enemies. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
right on. Yeah, yeah.
So, but I fell in love with that whole try to uplift people thing, and
Yeah.
that my whole process, or I guess you could say whatever. If someone wants to put my music in a bubble or whatever, it's based off of that structure, you know, Tupac structure of caring about people, wanting to help people out, and
Right.
and all of that. And so that's that was my biggest inspiration
That's
for a
it.
long time.
You believe in caring and helping on others.
Of
and
course,
things,
man.
yeah.
I think that's the only way to progress. You
Yeah,
know what
man.
I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah.
So, yeah, that it started with him, you know, and I want to give credit to my cousin. He's the one that kind of explained it to me, because first I didn't even get it. I was like, oh, Tupac, he curses and blah 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 blah.
Right on, yeah.
And then my cousin was like, do you actually listen to what he's saying? And then I started listening, and I was like, yeah, I wasn't paying attention, you know. And my cousin actually told me that the reason, you know, I didn't catch on back then. You know, it took me a minute to
Right.
go ahead and be like, okay, I'm going to do it. But my cousin was like, I want to listen to your music around my kids. And he was like, but I can't because of the words that you're using. And I was like, you know, it's not for kids. And and I fought him for years, the whole time.
Yeah.
And then the past, I guess you can say about a little over 3 years ago was when I finally got it. And I was like, okay, I can reach out to so many more people with, you know,
With if you
with it being clean
a
and
little more PG.
exactly, you know,
yeah.
say what I want to say, but just use different words, you know.
Right, yeah.
And it just, so I have to give him credit for that, because I was like, man, he was telling me that when I was a teenager, and I
Right.
didn't listen
Right,
until I
man.
was a grown man.
Yeah, that's
You know?
crazy. You know, you forget about that until you have kids and stuff, right? And you're like, oh, you're right. You can't just be listening to anything around kids. They pick it up too quick.
Of course.
They get in trouble, and you get in trouble. So that was your biggest inspirations being your sister, your kid, I'm sure, like family, and all these things.
Of course, of course.
How has moving to upstate and I mean, that's a total turnaround. You know, I mean, you were in Texas is, I mean, spicy. You know, it's hot down there, right? You know? And then you come here, where we get everything. But not only that, I'm sure in the military you've traveled and been so many places, and to end up here is such it's an interesting, you know.
Yeah, you know what? But I think it was, you know, I'm kind of different when it comes to the thought process and like, you know, spirituality and destiny and all this type of stuff. And you know, and I'm being from Houston and then being in the military. If I didn't join the military, I wouldn't have. Obviously, I wouldn't have ended up in Watertown, New York. I didn't even know Watertown, New York existed. You know, until I got stationed in Fort. So you know, so that's how that is. But at the same time, it was like military. At first, it was Fort Polk, Louisiana. Then we got deployed to Baghdad, and then after being in Baghdad, and we came back, and then we got you know, you're gonna go here. This is that. Everybody got scattered to different locations, and Fort Drum was where I got sent, and. You know, like over time, just like I said, this area of Watertown, it grew on me for the fact that it was just like, I like it. I like this whole, you know, small town, you know, vibe, doing shows, the radio stations, it's easy to, like, what do they say, 6 degrees of separation, you know what I'm saying? You easily end up knowing somebody, like, in Houston, it's got to be so much harder to get in contact with, that scene. But here, it's like, oh, I know this person. Next thing you know, you're at the radio station the next day.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, especially Tunes 92.5 has been awesome.
Oh, man, amazing.
To so many, I mean, myself, you, I mean, so many great local artists get a chance.
Yeah.
Because of Tunes 92.5.
And you don't get, you know, I haven't been everywhere in the United States, but I'm just going to go out there and say, you don't get that everywhere, where it's a radio station that shows so much love to the local artists like that, just so freely, man.
Yeah, and they'll do, I mean, you can walk in that day most of the time, and they'll give you something. Hey, we'll record it and put it out on Friday or whatever. I mean,
amazing,
great
man.
place.
I love it.
Yeah, you're right. It is kind of something cool when you come to a smaller city, town-ish, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And you get to know, like, everyone. You know everybody in the scene. You know the local store, all that. You know, it's it's something different.
Definitely.
So, why do you? Well, let me rephrase that. So, what makes you continue to make music today?
I think, you know, and it's almost a mixture of a lot of things that we spoke of. A huge shift would come into the fact of the message, and like I'm like a hip hop, you can call it fanatic or nerd or whatever the term would be, but I love it so much.
Right.
But I heard the things I would hear people say. I would say the things I would hear people say when I've done shows. I've done mixed genre shows. And a lot of times I've heard bad things about hip hop. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'll hear people mid conversation and be like, "Oh, it's trash," or "Oh, it's negative," "Oh, it's just, you know, shoot this or this, that." So it's all these things, and then while at the same time, while I'm able to, I can hear them and I can understand why they say so, because I've heard the music that does that.
Right.
But they don't take the time to understand that there's so many other artists out there that don't talk about that at all. You know, and so I kind of found that as a reason. It just it amplified my mission in a sense. I was like, okay, I'm gonna show people, or I'm gonna prove to them that hip hop, you know, can be such a beautiful thing.
Right.
And so a bunch of that is kind of my reasoning to like be that one person there for if other people don't want to go on that same path, I'll be that one person that says, okay, I'm gonna make rap music, but it's not gonna be the kind that you're used to, and it's actually gonna be something that may, I don't know, it may make you cry, it may make you learn how to get over this heartbreak that you're experiencing, or how to battle addiction, you know, all kinds of things. You know, like me, I'm 3 years sober now, so all of this stuff goes in. Appreciate it. It goes into my music, and I'm like, I'm not the normal, typical guy that people think of when they think of rap music, and that kind of helps my flame stay lit, you know, like, because I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna keep doing it at a high level. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. When the focus is on the art, That's
Oh,
when
of
it's the
course.
most important. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool, and it kind of ties back into what you said about Tupac, right? Like you, even when at one point in your life you were like your favorite artist, you didn't really have that much love for because of perhaps semantics. Like you were like, oh, once you look past what you couldn't before, you can see what's really inside and what's the importance of it.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course, and I've even told. So yeah, I was at Tunes 92.5 before having the interview, and even I chose the name Pr1nt, you know, because of that whole thing. It's like when you get something, people don't read the fine print. And I was like, we all are fine print. You know what I'm saying? Because you can see one thing, but you're not taking the time to really read that fine print about people. You know, you can judge people off the first appearance from afar, whatever. But you like when you really focus in on those things, those details about that person.
Yeah.
Then you learn about them, and that's why it's like this is what it's all about. It's like just taking a moment and just reading the fine print on everybody.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm
Not
saying?
looking at a cover and getting inside of it. Yeah, man. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I like that. That's fantastic. I didn't know that's a cool name. Good origin of the name. You know. That's
Right,
cool.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's just all been things like that have all kind of just worked its way off and stumbled upon my brain one day, and I got lucky.
Hey, man. That's
You know?
how it is. You know, with the way the art goes. You know, like you said, it's already there. You're just waiting for it to pop out. Right.
Right,
So,
indeed.
So I got a couple of questions here for you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes. Okay. So what kind of things are you working on right now in your music career?
Right now, I'm focused on. I'm actually putting together a project. Now I haven't done an album in years, but I'm doing it now because I feel like I've elevated way higher than what I used to be.
Right.
And so so I've been silent on putting out new music because I'm actually in the middle of making it. You know, making all the beats and then getting all the lyrics and all that stuff. So I'm like really working behind the scenes right now because I want to put something. I want to have it done by November. You
Right
know?
on, man. Yeah,
so,
that's great.
So that's what I'm working on right now behind the scenes, and you know, and I figure if anybody else, if they're like, oh, well, where's the music? I'm like, go to YouTube, man. That's 34 Fyne Friday episodes.
Yeah, for real. Everybody needs to check out his YouTube. It'll be posted with this, but because there's a lot of great stuff on there. We were talking about that. That's
Appreciate that.
You said it's Fyne Fridays, right?
Fyne Fridays.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, it's cool, man. Everybody should check that out. But that's so cool, man. We'll have to keep in contact, and when you do put out the album and things,
Right.
we'll make sure we put it through our grapevine, you know.
Hey, that's cool. I'll definitely reach out to keep you guys posted.
Yeah, absolutely. So, let me see. I can't read my own handwriting, of course, you know. Okay, so moving forward, do you have like any goals for your career, or the community, for your life around you, the people that like? What are your not necessarily long term, but plans for the future?
I'd say for this year, even, you know, my focus has mainly been on, you know, while balancing the music and whatnot, I got off into the whole giving, you know, getting more involved into giving, you know, in certain situations in the community. So, you know, like with the Sozo Teen Center that we got here, you know, I've focused on getting in touch with them and seeing what they need that could help out. What do the kids need? They want something to paint, you know. And I actually went there and got a list of things, and I've just been chipping away at that list,
cool.
you know. So like even right now, I'm designing. A few people who have donated to the cause of what I'm trying to do, and we're actually designing cornhole boards, you know, and we're gonna give that to them. So a buddy of mine, he's carpentry and all that. He made all the boards, everything, and then people donated the bags for the game, and now I'm actually drawing the design on the boards now, and then we're gonna put the finish on there, and then I'm gonna take that and give that to them. So that's one of my main focuses right now, is seeing what I could do for them. The VAC 100 is still going on, the Victims Assistance Center. You know,
Okay,
and
yep.
we're all, you know, a lot of us in the area are donating to that. So I just made my donation last week.
Oh,
So
right on.
I did that. So it's all just give, trying to
Yeah.
find out what can I do that can help somebody out. And, you know, because, I mean, what are we doing? You know, like
Yeah.
if you're not trying to make something better, you know, it's like, what are we doing with our days?
Right, man. No, I feel you. That's
know,
perfect.
so-
That's awesome. Those are some great things to be doing for people around you in the community, man.
You know, and let me not forget, you know, because I don't want to forget the Alliance for Better Communities. They started a new youth alliance, so it's basically gonna be most of the kids running things as far as like, I guess you could say events or programs or whatever, and it's about basically keeping kids, you know, off of, you know, or away from a life of substance abuse.
Right.
So I'm basically a part of them, and it's almost, I'm not like there all the time during the meetings or whatever, but I connect, you know, between work and everything else.
Right, yeah.
But we connect, and I'm trying to, you know, we always find ways of, okay, what can I do to help out this, you know,
Right.
whatever. What do you guys need? So right now we're in communications with that, and so yeah, that's my main focus right now, though. But
Yeah.
seeing what I can do while I'm here in the community.
For the people around you, the people who need help in the area. Yeah,
Right.
man. That's good. If all of us could, you know, if everybody take, you know, a little time,
Yeah,
look at that.
exactly.
Save everyone. Save America.
Hey,
Yeah.
we're trying.
Save the world.
Exactly.
Yeah, whatever, you know. No, but
each
yeah.
person.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And last question I've got that they're forcing me to ask. No, I'm just kidding. Last question here I got is, what advice do you have for anybody just starting out, whether that's a young person or an older person starting? What do you have any tips or like wisdom you might want to like share with them that you found along the way?
I'd say just, you know, be yourself. You know, if you're gonna be creative in anything you want to do, you know, what is your dream, your passion,
Yeah.
be yourself. You know, it's because it's so scary, and I understand it. It's scary, you know. You get made fun of if you're not
Yeah.
like everybody else, and all this other stuff.
putting
And it's
yourself
like
out.
so a lot of people take this approach to like, okay, well, I'll be more like what people want me to be like or whatever. So they playing it safe, and then it's gonna kill you inside. It's gonna eat away at you, and
Yeah.
that, and I did that for at some point in time. You know, so I'm speaking from my own experience.
Right,
you know, I was
yeah.
like, well, you can only make this type of music because that's what everybody want to hear. They don't care about this, that. And
Right.
and eventually over time, like as I evolved and matured, it's like, I'm just gonna do me. I'm just gonna be 100%, say what I want to say, what's important to me, and all this and that. And I started doing that, and I've never been happier creating because I'm doing exactly what I want to do. And, you know, and it just, I recommend everybody does that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
right on, man. That's great.
That's
Cool.
that's my tip. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like that. That's all you can be. I think about that all the time. You know, just because it is scary, like you said, man. To go up on stage or something, or show somebody your song, you're like,
Oh man.
you know. And I mean, just to be yourself, the most of yourself you can be, the best of the most of yourself.
And I think that, like, you know, because you're an artist as well, and it's like we put ourselves out there. When we step on a stage or we get in front of a crowd of strangers and we're presenting our art, you know,
Yeah.
it could be, you know, tempting for some people to be like, oh, I'm gonna do something that I know they'll like, but it's
Yeah.
like, man, it's so you get so much more of an award back, you know,
Yes.
within yourself when you say, you know what, I created this, and it's all me, it's what's in my heart, and you do it, and yeah.
And the relief, I think that I've had a similar kind of experience as you were explaining,
Mhm.
talking about there's and the relief you have when you just like go for it, and you're like, you know what, to heck with it all, I'm just gonna be me, and I'm doing it, and I don't care no more.
Exactly.
And then, I mean, it's just like the music is more better, you know, like it's somehow like it like makes it easier, man.
Yeah, and that's why I say it's the only way. After experiencing it and getting the feeling and everything, like it's like it is the only way, man, to really find joy in this creative space. You know, when you know that it's just all you.
Yeah.
You know, Yeah, it's gonna be scary. A lot of things are scary, but most things that are worth it are. It's scary to do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's scary to do a lot. Will Smith's a person that talks like that. He's like, oh, he jumped out of a plane, skydiving, and all that.
Right.
But it's facing your fears, basically. You want to face your fears, and if it's getting up in front of those strangers and doing, hey, do it. You're gonna feel better afterwards.
Yeah.
You know.
At least then you did it.
Exactly. You know, you leave this place with no regrets.
Yeah, you're right, man. Well, hey, thanks again for meeting with me. It's been lovely. You're an awesome guy. Everybody should go check out all of his music. We'll be posting everything on our, whatever's below here. I don't know what it's posted on YouTube, I'm sure. But you got to check him out. He's local New York Watertown musician here, and Fyne Pr1nt Williams here.
Yeah, Fyne Pr1nt Williams. You know, thank you all for even reaching out so we could do this. I mean, this is dope.
Yeah, man. And is there any last things you got going on? You want to announce or something like, hey, playing Madison Square sometimes? No, anything
in the future.
Yeah.
But that's probably about 2 shows coming up. And it's on silent right now. But once that information becomes more of a thing that's like, okay, you can let people know now. Yep. Then I'll be able to share the information. But yeah, that's the as far as performance-based things go, that's what's in the future coming up.
The future, couple of gigs coming up, and November, fingers crossed, album coming out. So keep an eye out for that.
Indeed,
Yeah.
November.
Yeah, cool. Well, thanks again, man.
Not
it was
a problem,
good talking
man.
with you.
Hey, you too.